Money. It's the one thing all of us chase, the thing we lose sleep over, fight for, dream about, fear, and depend on. It decides who eats and who starves, who wins and who loses, who rises and who falls. Money decides the fate of families, nations, and entire civilizations. But here's the dark truth they never want you to think about. Money is a lie, a beautiful lie, a dangerous lie. A lie so big, so old, and so cleverly designed that most people never question it. Today, you and I are going to peel back 10,000 years of history and expose the story of money, the biggest scam ever created, and the scam we still willingly participate in every single day. And just before we begin, do me one favor. Subscribe to this channel not because I want it, but because the people who invented money definitely wouldn't want you learning any of this. So let's annoy them together. All right, let's begin. Take a deep breath, because once you hear this story, you will never see a single coin, a single note, a single number in your bank account the same way again. For most of human existence, there was no money, no coins, no notes, no banks, no accounts. Just people surviving hunting, farming, building, trading. The earliest humans lived in tight communities. Everyone knew everyone. Trust wasn't a luxury, it was survival. But as societies grew, trust collapsed, distance grew, complexity grew. People needed a universal language of value. Barter worked until it didn't. A farmer wants fish, a fisherman wants pottery, a potter wants goat milk, a goat owner wants tools, a tool maker wants grain. And suddenly the whole system freezes. Everyone wants something different. Nobody gets what they need. Trade was breaking apart. Civilization was hitting a wall. To grow, humans needed something revolutionary, a way to store value, measure value, transfer value, and so the world created its first illusion. Not money, but the idea behind money. If we all agree something has value, then it does. That agreement changed everything. It began with the simplest objects, objects that were rare, beautiful, hard to destroy, and hard to fake. Cowrie shells. Cowries weren't just shells. They were the world's first universal currency. From China to India, from Africa to the Pacific, these tiny shells became the heartbeat of early trade, a billion-dollar economy built on a seashell. That's the thing about money. Once people believe in it, it doesn't matter what it is. But cowries weren't the only strange currency. On the island of Yap, people used giant stone wheels. Some were the size of cars, too heavy to move, too heavy to steal. So how were they used as money? Simple. The stone never moved, but ownership did. Villagers kept the record in their minds. A giant rock in a forest could belong to you, or me, or your neighbor. Based purely on collective belief, money wasn't just a physical object anymore. It was mental, psychological, a story shared by the group. And this was the first time humans tasted the power of abstract value. It opened the door for something much bigger, something far more dangerous. Because one day a king realized he could take this story and turn it into power. Around 600 BCE in ancient Lydia, the first metal coins appeared, stamped with the king's seal. That seal wasn't decoration, it was a message. You can trust this coin because I control it. Kings understood something instantly. If they controlled the money, they controlled the people. Coins weren't just currency, they were propaganda, authority, power. Coins built armies, armies built empires, empires brought in gold. Gold made more coins made bigger armies, a perfect loop. This was the birth of something new, state-controlled money. From Greece to Persia, from China to Rome, the story repeated itself. People didn't trust each other, they trusted the king, and the king trusted one thing, that his money kept him in control. But coins had a weakness, a fatal flaw. The more a king spent, the more coins he needed to create. And some kings discovered a dark trick. If you melt a coin, add a little cheap metal, and stamp it again, you can create money from nothing. Rome did this, Greece did this, China did this, nearly every empire did this. It was the ancient version of money printing, and every time they did, the value of money collapsed. Prices rose, people suffered, empires cracked. Money was already becoming a weapon. But the biggest weapon was still coming. A piece of technology so powerful, it reshaped the world. A paper. The first paper money wasn't invented in Europe. It wasn't invented by banks. It wasn't invented by kings. It was invented by merchants in China nearly 1,000 years ago. Merchants who traveled long distances with heavy bags of metal coins. Coins were too heavy to carry, too tempting for thieves, so they came up with something brilliant. They left their coins with shopkeepers and received a paper receipt, a promise, a guarantee, a piece of paper saying, "You can return any time and take your coins back." This was the world's first banknote, a piece of paper representing stored value. But when emperors discovered this, everything changed because paper is easy to print and the temptation was too strong. Governments printed more notes than they had metal, causing the world's first paper money inflation. People lost trust, economies crumbled, merchants revolted. China learned the hard way that money, if created too easily, can destroy entire nations. Centuries later, Europe made the same mistakes, again and again and again. Money was no longer a measure of value, it was a tool of power, and power corrupts. But the world wasn't done learning painful lessons. There was still one chapter left, one that would change everything about the way money works. By the 1500s, something terrifying appeared. Not an empire, not an army, not a king, but banks, real banks. Institutions that didn't just hold money, they created it. The Medici family built a banking empire that shaped modern finance. They invented interest, they invented credit, they invented accounting systems. They invented the idea that money didn't need to physically exist. If you had a trusted name, you could simply write value into existence. Suddenly, kings weren't the only ones controlling money. Banks were now partners in power. Debt became normal, loans became necessary, nations borrowed money to fight wars, armies were built on debt, empires rose on debt, empires collapsed under debt. And ordinary people? They became trapped, working not for survival, but to pay back numbers created with a pen. Money was no longer a tool of trade. It was a chain of debt, interest, banking, all invisible weapons. Power became centralized, controlled, unquestioned. And then we hit the darkest twist of all, the gold standard. For thousands of years, humans trusted gold. It was rare, beautiful, hard to fake, hard to destroy. And so governments promised something simple. Every piece of paper money can be exchanged for real gold. People believed them. Economies flourished. But behind closed doors, governments were spending more money than they had in gold. World War I broke the gold standard. World War II buried it. And in 1971, the United States finally admitted the truth. Paper money would no longer be backed by gold or silver or anything real. From that day, money became pure fiction, a number printed on paper or typed into a computer, backed by absolutely nothing but trust. Governments controlled the printing machines, banks controlled the digital ledgers. And the people? They controlled nothing. Money had become a story, a promise, a shared hallucination, a lie we all accepted. Because the alternative was chaos, but this lie was about to evolve. By the late 20th century, money began to disappear, not literally but physically. Credit cards, debit cards, online banking, mobile wallets, electronic transfers. Today, more than 90% of the world's money does not exist as cash. It's not in vaults, it's not in banks, it's not in ATMs. It lives only as numbers on screens, a digital illusion. Controlled by systems you will never see, programs you'll never understand, and decisions made by people you will never meet. Your balance, your salary, your savings, they're not physical. They're entries in a database. Editable, deletable, freezable at any moment. And once money became digital, the final wall between you and power disappeared. You don't hold your money, you access it with permission. But this control, this invisible empire, was shaken in 2008 by a ghost. In 2008, during the global financial crisis, the world learned a painful truth that the banks had broken the system. People lost homes, jobs, savings, everything. And in the middle of this chaos, an anonymous figure using the name Satoshi Nakamoto published a 9-page document. Not a rant, not a protest, but a blueprint for a new kind of money, one that didn't depend on banks or governments or trust or printing machines. That was Bitcoin. A currency that could not be faked, could not be multiplied, could not be controlled, could not be inflated, could not be shut down. For the first time in history, money belonged to the people. It terrified governments. It confused economists. It empowered ordinary people. It divided the world. Some called it a scam. Some called it salvation. Some called it the future. But one thing is certain, that crypto changed the conversation. It exposed the truth that money is not real, not fixed, not stable, not sacred. Money is whatever people believe it is: a shell, a stone, a coin, a note, a number, a code, and now we stand on the edge of a new era. So after 10,000 years of lies, illusions, and agreements, what is money? It is not metal, it is not paper, it is not digital code, it is not value. Money is trust, a story, a shared belief. Money is a religion, and the entire world is its church. Its priests are governments and banks. Its rituals are transactions. Its temples are markets. Its sins are debt and inflation. Its heaven is wealth. Its hell is poverty. Money is the biggest story humanity ever told, and the most powerful one too, because the story works only if everyone believes it. The moment people stop believing, the moment trust breaks, money collapses, empires fall, markets crash, civilizations reset. Money is not a thing, it is a collective hallucination, a lie we all agreed to share. But here's the twist. It's also the lie that built the world, and now that you know the truth, you can never go back. Money didn't just buy things, it bought power, control, obedience, civilizations, dreams, nightmares, and everything in between. Money shaped humanity far more than humanity shaped money. And if you want more stories that the world quietly hides behind numbers, dates, and polite textbooks, you know what to do. Subscribe. Not because it's free, not because it helps the channel, but because for the first time ever, you learn something about money. That the people who control it would rather you didn't know. And trust me, we're just getting started.